What's up, everyone? How you guys doing? Sorry, technical difficulties at the moment. But what is up? How you guys doing? We're gonna be talking about the riots and protests and every stupid little aspect of all this because it has gotten out of hand, and I think at this point it's worth covering. I didn't want to cover it until we had some more information, and now it started to extend into a whole other thing. So we're gonna play the intro and then get into it. What is up, everyone? Wait, let me pull up chat. I usually have this pulled up, but bad streamer. What is up, Locksmith? What up, Chuck? How you guys doing? Obviously, as you guys know, we're gonna be getting into a lot of shit today. There's a shit ton of clips that me and Soaring have both pulled up. What up, Lauren? This whole mess is a crazy amount of information to process, so we're gonna try to get through it as fast as efficiently as possible. Um, Honestly, if you want my honest take on the situation, is that I think that everyone on every side is being dumb as fuck, and that's kind of where I am with this whole thing. But Soaring, is there anything you want to say to the crowd? What up, Avius? What up, Peace Dynamo?
I have some these ones though.
Okay, say that again,
So we can
we had the mic cut out.
hit again.
Yeah, mic cut out.
Oh, my bad, my bad. I got some clips from streamers that happened during the protest.
Let's go.
But so this one's pretty bad. Should I start? Should I share my screen?
Yeah, share your screen. Bam, let's go. Alright, we're gonna watch a few of these clips of like streamers being stupid during these raids. Because for some reason people can't stop from recording themselves from doing stupid shit. But yeah, Sorry's gonna give you more information on these just because I don't really watch these streamers, but he does and he knows what's going on. Also, sup Crab?
Oh. I gotta put this in a different screen. Alright.
Wait, is the stream down?
No, stream isn't now.
Yeah, the stream isn't down. Don't scare me like that. Or oh, did Sarah's stream get DDoSed? Damn, L, dude. That sucks. Yeah. What's up, Michelle? Listen, Christine, reading comprehension is not my strongest suit. We all know that. Okay. Play the clip though, Vice. Explain to me what's happening. What are we
Explain?
watching? Yeah, explain to me what
this is protesters running to the cops and getting shot by a flashbang.
Wait, what?
Yeah, but also it's because this Chevron also got robbed.
Listen, if his mic is loud, that's good because he never talks. So, also, what up, Neeb? What up, Leia? Let's watch it. I don't know why Neeb is critiquing.
Oh, fuck.
That was.
I'm not sure if it's a flashbang or a tear gas.
Why was that so laggy on my end?
Oh,
no, Oh, it is. No, it is.
Or is that like the video? Is the video like that or?
Oh no, it's at your. It's your end.
It's my end. Weird.
Yeah.
Everything seems to be running fine on my end. Weird.
Yeah.
Everything. Oh, whoa! Heard myself for a second there. Well, fuck it then. I guess this is. You're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to pull up the clips.
All right.
Because that was laggy. Let's close this out and switch over screen. We are really out of shape today. I'm just gonna say that. Sorry, chat. Let's turn on the YouTube for this end. Turn on the Discord screen. Okay. So where we're starting off at is the first day of the riots, at least for.
Yeah, this flashbang one was the first day.
Okay. Wait. Well, what's actually showing on my screen right now? Check. The Discord isn't showing, right?
Discord is not showing now.
Oh wait, the Discord is showing. You're lying to me.
No, it's not.
You almost got us in trouble, dude.
Now it is.
That's not the Discord. That's a web browser. The other thing was the Discord.
Oh yeah, that is the web. Yeah.
That's my web browser. Okay. So let's open up. Where is this? Is it the very first clip?
No, it's not. I'll send it to you.
Okay, send me whatever you want me to play.
All right.
Or just put it Put it again in content, and
Side
then
chat. I'll just post it in.
yeah, just post it in content. Because some of those links are dead now, right? So
Yeah, the top ones are.
let's do that then. Also, what up, Arachnid?
Send it to you.
We got the flashbang.
Also, you guys stream it this way.
Let's go.
Oh shit.
Okay. I also have to stream it into the Discord. Give me a second, guys.
Yes.
So that he can watch it with us. Okay. Share my screen. How is my internet working better for this? I don't get it. Sometimes my internet just doesn't make sense. All right. Let me move. Oh. What the fuck just happened? What just happened? What just happened? Uh-oh.
What do you mean?
Uh-oh. I just grabbed all my fucking links and moved them for some strange reason. do you see this? I don't know if you guys can see this. That's fucking strange.
We don't see it.
Oh, wow. That was a lot of fun.
Well, I don't think I also. But yeah, we don't see it.
Okay, so fuck, that fucked me. Okay. So you can see what's going on. I was trying to move my OBS for a second there, but it grabbed like every link for some strange reason. All right.
Oh shit. Oh fuck.
Crazy that a patch. I would honestly. Yeah, for sure, dude. Listen. I don't have those folders. Not on this computer. So you'll never know. But, alright, sorry. Where is this happening? Who is this person? Why did we watch it?
Just because it's just some like another like view of the protests, basically.
Gotcha.
I'm showing.
Gotcha. We're watching the instigator.
I'm not showing like what the news is basically showing.
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah. Well, we'll watch more of these clips. The first one is a flashback. The second one is FBI looking for this guy. Let's see what this is.
It's just so this guy, the story about this guy, he did. He's doing some crazy shit, and now the FBI is looking for him during the protest.
The guy that was on top of the thing?
Yeah, the masked man.
Oh, isn't he the guy that threw the rocks? I think he's the guy that threw the rocks,
He threw
right?
something.
Yeah.
He threw something.
Yeah.
He like started a fire or some shit too.
Jesus Christ. All right.
Like they're literally on a burnt car right now. They're standing on a burnt car.
In the middle of the road. Fucking jackasses, man. I am 18 years or over.
Alright, this is
okay.
They're broken, like through the metal.
We're just stealing jewelry right now. Base.
Yes. Oh, he got robbed too.
Give me the phone.
Give
me the phone.
Yeah, he got robbed for filming them.
Oh my god, dude! Ain't no way that just happened. This is why you don't, this is why you don't stream yourself doing crimes.
Well, he's not
L.
even doing a crime. He's just filming. He's just filming people doing crimes.
I don't know. At this point, I wouldn't be this close to this shit. But Jesus, let's.
Come on.
They're robbing a CVS.
This is a CVS.
Something like that.
It's a CVS. It's a CVS.
No, it's a CVS.
It's
Yeah.
a CVS. Ain't no way. What are you grabbing
Yeah,
at a CVS?
They stole diapers, fucking everything.
I mean, they're not even coming now. They stopped coming. So they're gonna.
Jesus. This is okay. So let's keep going. I guess you collected a lot of these.
I did.
Where
This is the first one. The first jewelry store they stole from.
This is a jewelry store.
Yeah.
I don't know whose jewelry store this is, but it's fucked.
This one he didn't get robbed. Some lady tried to stop them during this before they broke in, and she got like trampled. She literally got trampled.
Jeez, dude. This is why we can't have nice things. This is legitimately the reason we can't have nice things. Next clip is the Waymo cars.
Yeah,
Is
this is the aftermath.
Is this an up close shot?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, is it not loading up? It should be loading up.
We got it. We got it. ¿Qué pasó?
The what?
Damn, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, this is the aftermath.
This is the close-up shot.
Yeah.
Dude.
I
How
don't know
are
why
all
it's
those...
doing that on your
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
Oh, it fucking
Why is
smells, and I just
all
took
the
off my
other clips
mask.
seem to work. They don't want me to see this Waymo shit. See, this is the downfall. This is why we beat Skynet, guys. This is why we win. Skynet will never defeat us.
So this is over $1 million in cars. Or who owns Waymo? Isn't it Google? I think they'll be alright.
No, it's Jaguar.
Ain't no way that's
Google
$1 million in cars. That is a lot of
They're
equipment.
Jaguars.
Don't get me wrong, but oh, okay. I guess so. The next part, it's pretty graphic. Just letting people know. I guess we're gonna watch someone throw a rock at a cop.
Oh, dude.
Oh, dude! Oh shit! Oh! Oh my god! Dude!
Oh my god, he got fucked. Oh, he's fucked.
Dude! Holy shit! But ain't no way!
Yeah. The helmet came off.
Oh, dude, I have to watch this one again. No, ain't no way that.
They didn't expect it. They didn't.
Get down! Get down!
Bam! Oh! Oh my god, dude! That him straight in the
Yeah.
face. Dude, is there a slow-mo on
They have guns pointed up because they've been throwing rocks at them.
Do we have slow-mo on here? Playback speed. Yeah, we have slow-mo. Boom! Right in the face, dude. Did you see that? Like, ain't no way.
Yeah.
Ugh.
He started bleeding.
Oh, he got fucked. Oh.
Jesus. Hey,
Live.
what up, Juan? How you doing?
Content.
And my headache went away.
A base. Let's go, dude. Well, right now we're watching all the clips that Soaring has. We're almost through a lot of them, but that one is probably going to be the most severe one. Jeez, dude.
I'm assuming a lot of these are for lulls, since it's Soaring.
No, these are just streamers that are like recording this. Soaring watches streamers, so he's a pretty good reference.
Look at the Modelos. They got 3 stack of Modelos.
Oh, this is the gas station they got stolen from, right?
Damn. They're all the way to the back.
This is another one. Not the first one.
Look, they're all the way back there.
The Sharon one,
The cases.
that was the flashbang one.
Oh, fuck. That's actually smart.
None of this is smart. I'm not gonna lie to you. None of this is smart. All right, chat. Are you picking up a Red Bull and just walking out, or what are you guys doing? Because if shit's going like this at this point, I don't know. I think I'd walk out.
Who would walk out?
Like if I saw this happening and I like walked into 7-Eleven like to buy like a fucking like drink or something, and I just see this shit going on, like I think I'm walking out with a Red Bull.
Well, yeah, because you could easily get caught up in like, oh, hey, you're one of the guys too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm just like, I think I just grab something and go. Because the thing that sucks is like I usually buy cigarettes at these places, so that's the thing. Oh, wait, I'll play the
funny thing.
Look, no one picked up the Lay's pickles. I wonder why.
Yeah. I'll play the next clip. Soaring, take over for a second.
All right. The protesters are throwing, what do you call it? The garbage pins at them, at the cops, and throwing fireworks, but then the cops are shooting back at them. And this was day 3.
Look at them all hiding behind the dumpster still. Bro, this is amazing.
That's it.
All right. Yeah, all the footage is from LA. Hornets gonna be back soon, so Chad, what do you guys want to talk about? There's more clips. Gotta check other clips. Don, talk to them.
Oh, I can't see chat right now, and I'm kind of busy.
Yeah, we have different ones, but we have news clips from the news. All right. I can't control clips on my end right now. Make sure you guys give a thumbs up to the stream. Silence is good, Chuck. Hello, Katie.
Let me
Yes,
see.
Christine,
Let me
it
take a
is.
gander at this chat.
I think the action is gonna stay dead today. I was watching yesterday in LA, and it was pretty dead. Cause what it seems like they're doing is now the cops are getting there earlier and setting up so they can basically circle in all the protesters. That's what it seemed like to me yesterday.
I think the last thing I heard was like the law enforcement outnumbers the protesters now.
I wouldn't doubt it. They've been arresting a lot of protesters.
And they had that one, I don't know if he's a sheriff or
This-
whatever, basically saying if you come here, we're going to kill you. In Florida.
Oh, that's in Florida.
I think that law enforcement guy's always been a bit boisterous. I know here in Texas they're ready. They're getting ready. I think with 2,000 National Guard. I think they're making them try to cover Austin and Houston. Yep. I think Hornet has some clips queued up for later for that.
If they rev it up again, it's just gonna get worse.
And one of the problems too, it might escalate because I know I forget some law was passed in Florida. I don't know if which state it was about like making it strict. I think it was Florida, making it stricter for people to like protest and stuff.
Yeah, they have time restrictions now. You can't be downtown in LA at 8 o'clock during the protest. They're starting to kick everyone out from downtown.
And they're making it it's easier to catch a charge if you like try to attack a police officer in Florida.
Honestly, it matters what kind of protest it is. It matters if it becomes violent, then shit. Like, look at LA right now is bad. Honestly, they shouldn't be calling it a peaceful protest if they're throwing rocks at the cops. That's my opinion on that.
Do you think there's any paid agitators out there? Like I was reading some they're like paying
Like
some of
what
these,
cops?
yeah.
What cops being like the protesters and throwing shit? No way. No way. No way.
I saw something on Facebook that they're paying some of these guys $12,000 a week who's brave enough to actually attack the police.
No, it's definitely not a protest when that happens. At that point, it's basically a riot. Like, honestly, send more Marines down to actually stop it.
We need to protest how much that damn Switch 2 cost. All that bullshit Nintendo's pulling.
How much does it cost? 600?
I don't know, like $500 for a handheld.
That's not bad. People were paying for the Switch 1
Yeah.
for that much during COVID. People were trying to buy my Switch for 700. Just they couldn't find it in stores.
So like protests get hijacked with that. Yeah, I think that always happens. You know, all these protests, there's always going to be bad actors involved.
Always.
Sorry about that.
So that's why you have to be specific. That's why you have to be specific about who you're going after. You can't just say it's all a riot.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
No
a lot of
worries.
dead air. We didn't have any background noise.
Well, we're gonna
We
continue.
couldn't watch any more clips.
We continue on with more.
Get down!
That's the same one.
That's the same one, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess that's all the kick.
No, there's more kick clips. I just have to post them more.
Okay.
I'm not sure which one.
Well,
You showed the gas station one, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
This is
did we do cops versus dumpsters? Yeah, we did, right? Yeah.
yeah, yes. We didn't do this one. No posted.
They're all being moved on the sidewalk. Oh, they were on the right-hand side? I thought they were on the left. And they all have their hands up and shit.
Alright, so this one is
Somebody told them to leave before they get arrested.
so this is they trapped the protesters
They trapped them?
and they were kicking they trapped the protesters now they're kicking them out or arresting them.
Gotcha. Base. So they just worked them into a corner like rats.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Like rats.
That's what they're doing now.
Like rats. Alright. Well, that's enough with the kick streams, though. We're going to switch over to the news footage. I think this just creates a more personal thing where we can look at it close up, but let's go into some of the coverage for all the crazy stuff that's been going on, because unfortunately this hasn't just stayed in LA, but we're going to start off with LA. We're obviously never going to watch this 8-hour stream because fuck that. We're just going to skip through. Obviously, this first day, this is where shit popped off. And where was this? This was outside of the Home Depot near their department thing, because it's right across the street from it. I think a lot of people have been misreporting that they have their offices here. So necessarily we're there for not a lot of time, but as you can see, people were out there in front of it. There's a bunch of shit that happened. Dude, this is not gonna work if the streams do not want to work with me right now.
Just exit out of all the kick ones. For some reason, kick takes a lot of fucking chi usage.
I'm just trying to avoid getting shot at. I literally was trying to help him right now with that covering that shit. Because that shit was getting all over here with this.
We see shit pop off later on. I'm never gonna sit here for 72 hours. Y'all can go kill yourselves. No, I'm kidding. But
I just do after that 24-hour stream. I don't want to do anything more than 24 hours. Let's watch. But as you can tell, first day, not a lot going on. There seems to be some aggression, some shit popping off, but not a lot. What up, Orthodox?
No, but I feel like it's because it's during the day.
Yeah, this is like the very first day of the protest. So like, obviously there
Once
is
it
like,
gets darker out, I feel like it gets worse.
there's a lot going on. Don't get me wrong, like the shopping carts and the cinder blocks, but there doesn't seem to be like a humongous like crazy unrest that they're gonna punch like cops or do some crazy shit, right? That doesn't happen until like the later days.
Yeah, once the crowd starts getting larger and larger.
But when we're looking at this, it's just like, yeah, you can see that there's a lot of this is under control under the first day. Like, obviously the roads suck and like they have a blockade, but you know, people are gonna be stupid. And you can just keep scrolling and scrolling, and there's like not too much going on in front of the building.
Actually, it's cool down here, guys. I know some stuff probably still happening down at the donut shop. I can't get down there. It is what it is.
The donut shop is where things are popping off, though.
The chat.
Oh, the big donut, right?
Yeah, the big donut.
Is it the
place?
big donut on the fucking on the building?
Yeah.
Hello, Orthodox guy.
What?
No, I'm just looking at chat. Look at Orthodox guy.
yeah.
Dave's here.
Yeah, I said. How the fuck did you see Dave before I did? Holy fuck.
Maybe you're behind. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't see Dave up there. What up, Dave?
Hello, hello.
But yeah, not a lot of stuff popping up on the first day. We didn't get the Wago fires until like what, Sunday?
Yeah.
So today it's all about vandalism. Oh, we have a fire. We have some sort of fire.
Something is on fire.
What do you say to like some people are saying they already had like cinder blocks ready to go for them to get like planted?
Oh, you mean the planted cinder block stories? Yeah. Home Depot's right there. I don't know if I believe that they were planted there. Yeah. If the Home Depot's right across the street from you, I'm just like, okay, I know where you got the cinder blocks from. Like,
I want my George Soros conspiracy. Damn it! Nah, go ahead.
I think a lot of people do think that George Soros is highly involved in this situation, and it's just like, I haven't seen any credible information. I saw something about a Craigslist ad that they're trying to get people to do this for like $6,000 a day or some shit.
Yeah, I heard it was like $12,000 for the week. Like there's all kind of shit going around.
Yeah, but the Craigslist ad went down, and it's like, I don't know if that's like just bad faith actors or an actual like proposition, and there's just not enough credibility behind a lot of these stories. It's the same reason why I have issues with the January 6th stuff, where I was trying to figure out where everyone was, you know? Like,
Why do they have fridges?
Much better. Now I could drink some water.
They probably
Did they steal the fridge from Home Depot?
They probably grabbed a fridge from Home Depot.
There's one for up and offer up.
You gotta barricade yourself from the cops for some strange reason. Oh, the fire's getting bigger.
Oh yeah, because it's next to a fucking gas. It's next to gas. It's next to a gas tank.
What are they
filled
lighting
in
on
fuel
fire
truck.
there? Oh, this is where they were shooting the fireworks at the cops, right? Yeah, at the donut place.
And there's laser pointers at helicopters or something.
Yeah. Well, no, laser pointers at the cops.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. Point laser pointers at cops.
I would be so angry. Now, like, the main issue with all this shit is that, yeah, unfortunately, people still need to fucking get around and do shit, and you're just making this a pain in the ass for everyone else. Like, I can get trying to demonstrate, whatever, protest all you want. Don't fucking start shooting fireworks in random directions. You know? Because if my car was parked there, I'm losing my goddamn mind.
Oh yeah, there's one. I don't know if I posted the clip.
What are these guys doing?
They're hiding. There's a clip of some dude throwing fireworks at a
This is where the
group of cops.
dumpster. This is where the dumpster was on fire later on. Yeah, I remember this scene. Yeah, everyone thought the building was on fire, but they set that fucking dumpster on fire. Because all I saw was this angle in like news reports, and I was just like, "Are we setting buildings on fire at this point? What is going on?"
I mean, the whole thing as well. They were with us the whole time, and they just started opening fire in their vehicle too. That was the black vehicle.
Oh. The fact of living in America, guys. But yeah, that was the first day, right? Then we have what follows up.
ICBP.
I also want to bring into the conversation now our law enforcement expert to help us break down what we're
This
seeing
is what's happening.
as this is getting
after.
a bit
Now,
messier.
as you can tell from the title, I don't know if can the stream see the title?
Orthodox, are you in Discord? Is Orthodox guy in our Discord?
Orthodox, if you're in the Discord, like, okay, there's a link at the bottom of the screen, in the description box. Join the Discord and then jump into the waiting room, and someone will pull you up.
Or just go to general and I'll just drag him.
Yeah, you could also join general, like, just join any of the, like, BCs and we'll drag you in. But yeah, as we can tell, first day, second day, we start moving around. Other protests are starting to move in. He says he's in. Okay. What up, Ortho?
How you doing today? I was already in the Discord. I didn't know y'all did a waiting list.
It's just I didn't know that was you, so I have to give you streamer perm so you can just jump in whenever you feel like it.
Yeah, I go by a totally different name.
yeah, that's why I was just like, I don't know who this person is, so I just gave you the regular roles. But now that I know it's you, I'll increase your roles so you can just jump in
Eating
next
my
time.
wine and cheese from the stream earlier today.
True.
Pretty good. Fancy.
So yeah, we're just covering the riots and everything that it encompasses. We are moving on to day 2, because day 1, honestly, there was like that one confrontation at night and then the brick wall that they made, and that was pretty much the highlights.
Yeah, shit didn't start popping off until like
the nighttime of the first day. And then the second day is when we had the New York protest happen, but the New York protest was for a different reason, from my understanding. The New York protest was for the travel ban, I believe. So we had that pop off, and then we had this also still going on in California.
I want to bring in now Scott Duffy.
All of a sudden standing against law enforcement by blocking, whether it be using your body or some sort of passive-aggressive way. We are now seeing this across the nation where ICBP, our law enforcement partners who are carrying out their duty.
Now, I've heard a lot of people make the criticism of the Mexican flag here. And I'm just like, I understand the criticism. I also understand a little bit on the other side where it's just like, yeah, you're trying to have some cultural relevance. So like I get that to a degree. But
The optics are horrible.
yeah, the optics are very much horrible. Like Orthodox. Yeah, I know me and you have argued about it, but like what do you think would be like the optics for if they were holding both the American and Mexican flag at the same time? Like I think that would look perceptually way better.
Way better.
Right?
It
Like
would look way better. The thing is, they would also have to be able to control the Mexican president and the Senate president with what they said, because they did not help with that at all.
yeah, I agree. The thing
They put gas on that fire.
yeah, like when I watched that clip on your channel, I kind of understood like where they're coming from. It's like if you want us to build a wall, then you have to give back what the fuck like you took, right? But that's just kind of the argument, but which is reasonable. But
no, not really.
If you're trying to make them pay for something, right? If you're trying to make them pay for a wall, that it's like trying to
was asinine.
Yeah.
Not responsible for our national security.
Yeah, that's the reason I would
complaining for like ad nauseum about us taking it from them. First off, it was theirs for 27 years. Before then, it belonged to Spain, and before then, it was Native American.
Yeah.
The Native Americans and Americans have held it for the longest.
In
what 200 something years the U.S. has had control of the Southwest.
Yeah, for
it was, I think 27 years for Mexico and like 50.
It's like 1830, right? So we're looking like we're looking at like 100, 200 years, 200 years. Yeah.
They're just using it as a territorial expansion if they're serious about it.
Yeah, I don't think he's being serious, to be 100% honest.
I think the Senate president was memeing, being a dick about the give us the land back. But I do think the lady, the actual president of Mexico, was dead ass serious, because remittances are a huge part of their economy.
Yeah, I agree. The thing is, like, I think it's fair for her to say, like, if she has like citizens that are within another nation, like those people should be afforded some rights, like not the same rights, right, necessarily, but some rights. I think the issue is like this paints a horrible, like I think both sides do a very bad job at optics here, where like this side is just carrying Mexican flags, but also conducting raids on like random ass hospitals or like fucking Home Depots and all this other fucking shit. It's unnecessary, and you're basically
the word raid is really not applicable here. It's a propaganda term that's been chosen for the exact reason that you're actually not that you're stating yourself, but the same way of talking. And I'm not saying you're doing it, but the people that be, the powers that be on the other side, they've chosen the word raid. What they're doing is going and knocking on people's doors. We have reports that you're not a citizen. Are you a citizen? If like check box yes or no. If no, come with us.
Yeah, like but that I think that fundamentally goes for like the stop and frisk thing that most Americans would not be for. Like even if we boil it down to that, like under the Fourth Amendment, we're kind of protected under that, and I don't know.
We are citizens.
I don't know. I don't know if there is a legal loophole that you could use for immigrants that don't have, because there are certain protections that they're afforded. I don't know if the Fourth Amendment would be something that would be excluded to them. At least I haven't read anything in like any case law or anything that specifically would remove that from them.
They're not protected by the full Constitution. However, specifically, the one right I know that they were granted was the right to keep and bear arms.
Yeah,
and that was due to Supreme Court decision. I think either it was a Asian or Hispanic gentleman who overstayed a visa, specifically bought a firearm When he overstayed his visa, they tried to hit him with several felonies, and it went up all the way to the Supreme Court, where it was dictated that every person inside the U.S., as long as they're not a criminal or have a criminal record, has the right to keep and bear arms.
Yeah, so like there are like certain like I know that I also Pierce Morgan has made the case that he had Fifth Amendment protections when he's here in the US because someone tried suing him. So there are fundamentally I do think that they are covered under a lot of protections. The thing is, like, if the cop has a warrant, like ain't no one fighting that, right? Like that's just a justified fucking thing. That's not a seizure. So like that's why I would go against the stop and frisk. And for a lot of these like workplaces, I have seen that these ICE officials do have warrants. I think optically they're doing a horrible job of this because like trying to cover up a person's face or do all this other shit in like broad daylight, it just kind of it plays bad to the communities that you're going into.
The issue is the left, not leftist, but the radical left. We all know who I'm speaking about.
Yeah,
they will dox and harass, and it poses a threat to these people. Like when I talk to boomers, older folks about Patriot Front or other groups who cover their faces, it's like there's a reason Antifa does it. There's a reason Patriot Front does it. There's a reason that on the left and the right, the military and police also cover their faces.
Yeah,
there is a threat.
The thing is, like, if you're part of like one of those groups, I agree you shouldn't be fucking covering your face, right? Because you should be. The issue is that they get into a lot of serious situations where like you should be able to be found at some way, and that they're trying to subvert it. When we're looking at cops or like ICE agents or like let's say the National Guard, but because the National Guard isn't covering their face, they're public acting officials. They work for the federal government. I think people have a right to know who the people that are policing them are, right? So that fundamentally that plays a bit different for me particularly.
If you want to know the identity of your arresting officer, when it's something that is socially not taboo, because ICE is not taboo.
Yeah.
Something like this that's going to blow up, that people are going to propagandize that there could be a threat to you or your family.
Yeah, for sure.
You should have to do extensive work, like for one, the basics, doing a freedom of information. Like the reason that this is being done is these people will be threatened.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, but like if I'm like, let's say like this is happening to me or you, Orthodox. If this guy shows up in a mask without any identification and says like I need to get on a fucking bus or some shit, I'm definitely asking for some level of credentials, right?
The level of credential is literally the 18 fucking government cars and like ICE written on their chest.
Like I still need to see a badge or something. I need something to actually prove that you're with these people.
What's the difference between having purely labeled cars versus a purely labeled piece of metal or a laminated piece of...
For sure, but like when you're inside of a building, yeah, you're not seeing all the cars outside, right? Like I'm just seeing like people walk in mask, in like with a mask on and being like, you have to come with me, and I'd be like, can I get some identification? Also, what up, Just Becca? And I think that's 100, and I think that's reasonable.
Honest. If like 5 armed dudes come and said you need to come with me, you're gonna go with them.
You're going with them because of the force, right? But I want to see a badge number. Like if they're like being like you're a government representative, fuck no, you're showing me a badge number because I'm not about to get shot like for no fucking reason. And if they're not part of it, then I'm most likely gonna get shot either way. So like it's a lose-lose for me either way. But like you should be able to ask them for their identification. And we looked this up the other day. As an ICE agent, you have to show your badge number if someone asks for it. You have to show some level of identification. And have you
ever watched a raid take place?
Yeah, I have, and they're pretty tame. They're pretty tame.
Have you noticed that on their bulletproof vest to the left, right under the breast, or like right on the breast, there's a laminated piece of paper.
Yeah,
That's their badge and their badge number.
yeah. Which is
there's a caveat with ICE agents. If they're in public, they don't have to, but if they're at your door, they have to.
yeah. If like they're inside of a building grabbing you have to show it, right? The thing of like them being outside, like I can understand because we're gonna play a video. Like actually, we'll just play it right now. Let me see.
And there's some little paragraph about reasonably showing your ID just for the public trust or something like that.
Yeah. The reason the ICE director went this way, like he even says it. Like we'll play the clip.
I'm going to answer the mask question.
Before you play this, right?
Go for it.
There were several things that happened today. I don't want to jump ahead. I don't know if you're going to eventually get to them.
Oh yeah, I'm just, since I haven't done any coverage on my channel, I'm just kind of like blowing through each day and being like, okay, this is what's happening this day, and then like seeing where the repercussions, because like I think you can tell that this is spreading, right? This is not calming down. It's getting worse over time.
I think it's calming. I've been seeing. I hadn't seen anything today. What I've seen today is completely off topic. Is Israel's airstrikes on Iran?
Yeah,
that's what I'm more talking about.
Yeah, I saw that as well. But I'm talking particularly from a domestic like standpoint. There seems to be a lot of issues that arrived today.
Yeah, what I was going to ask you specifically was about the Chicano who they're claiming, like left wing and right wing are claiming that he rushed the Homeland Security director, which I haven't seen anything. I just seen the videos of him being arrested.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wanted to get your opinion on that, just in case I have to.
So I did like grab the interview and I grabbed like the perspectives. So he was approaching the podium. He was doing it aggressively? He was just asking questions as he was approaching the podium, and it seems like the security overreacted in that situation. And then when we have a U.S. senator be put down like that, it doesn't play well. So that's the issue that I have with like most of this.
To be fair, not trying to be funny, but to be fair, people from ethnicity south of the border do have a history of approaching political figures and shooting them in the face very calm-like. It just happened in Argentina, I think it was. Either Argentina or
talk today though. That was a very weird like shift that I don't know if he's like trying to minimize the situation that he's in currently, because today he basically went on and was just like, farmers are being affected by these ice raids. We don't want that happening. So we're going to take a look at that, make sure that's not happening, right? So it doesn't seem like the operations are going...
I want all these illegal workers. Who's we? Like Nintendo we? I don't want anybody being able to use illegal labor.
He's saying we as him, like his administration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so...
No, my thing is, if farmers are using illegal labor, that's akin to slavery, in my opinion.
There's...
The work condition, the extremely low pay, the abuse.
The thing is, like, we would have to... The abuse is a lot lower, right? Like, you're never going to get to, like, slavery through that. We can argue that the low pay is, like, just taking advantage of
They can hold their green cards.
Yeah. That sucks.
If they have them, they can mentally abuse them by threatening to call ICE.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there are like
my family.
That happened to a pizza store in Boston.
My family lives in rural Texas, near ranches and farms, and I've seen the horrid shit firsthand that happens to illegal immigrants when it comes to working in this country under the table.
Yeah,
and the socialist part of my ideology absolutely despises that. Nationalist part says get them out.
Yeah. There are aspects that I'm just like, yeah, for sure. The low paying, and yes, we see abuse, and as someone who is very much in touch with like the Hispanic communities, is I understand a lot of the like drawback to that, but like there's also the aspect that I have to look into of just like, okay, what are the fixes for this? And I said it on your channel. I think that the best fix is to basically regulate these companies or contractors to basically, if you don't want the illegals here, that's fine. I'm more on the legal immigrant side because I don't think that illegals are like the necessarily the best way to fix anything. So my argument would be to basically fine these companies or fine the or jail the owners, whatever consequences that they want to do, and then basically you dry up the money.
But hey, are they technically criminals under current law, or is that not a thing?
What do you mean?
The people hiring the illegals.
Yes, they are.
Technically, yes, they're, but I think it's a civil thing, and that's also the issue. I think it should be brought up to an actual federal charge.
For sure. But the thing is, like, your plan for that is already kind of like the status quo. You said it's just done in a civil manner.
Yeah.
Like a criminal manner.
Yeah.
And I do agree. Like, I do think we should switch it to criminal. I don't think it would do much. I think people would still do the status quo.
Oh, for sure. Like, we would still see, but like, here's the thing. Like, well, you have like that risk level. Like, people like there's an aversion to like risk that a lot of people take. So, like, if you're like a contractor that's barely making it through, you're gonna think twice before like hiring some illegals because you might actually end up in jail for that, right? Or like if you're a high business owner, you don't want your corporation to get like fucking fucked up through like some sort of sanction or anything that could potentially hurt your bottom dollar. So I think those are like fundamentally the things that we have to like focus on. If the goal is to get rid of illegals, I don't think that grabbing them out of like homes and doing all this theatrics is any solution to anything. I think it literally is just to put on a show, and what it ends up doing is either what's happening is you have half the country cheering this on and half the country that's just like, this is horrid, right? Like,
that's the unfortunate necessity of it, because we're entering that time in a nation's history where it's time for a civil conflict, because we are becoming too politically opposed to one another.
Yeah. And I don't think that we necessarily have to be that way. The thing is, like, I think the Republican Party and the Democratic Party have both done a really good job at villainizing the other side. And at this point, it's about dismantling that villainization. That's the only way we can move forward. Because unless that happens, we're fastly approaching some level of civil conflict.
You're not incorrect, but when in human history has that ever?
The Republican Party and like the Democrats have had issues in the past, right? But if we look at like
I'm not just talking about Democrats. I'm talking about human history.
Yeah,
and when we have been this politically opposed to one.
like back in the day, like during our founding, like there was the like what were they? The Federalists versus what were they?
Federalists versus the
I don't remember the name for the other group, but yeah, that was like high stakes, right? Like they fought a lot, and then we go to the North and South conflict.
They physically assaulted one another in Congress during the debates.
For sure,
sure enough.
Sure.
That didn't lead to civil war.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm saying like there have been moments where things have blown up, and the Civil War was like my second example of like the North and South disagreeing on like what is essentially states' rights, because the North believed that you shouldn't have slavery.
Actually, I have a new take on that, right? Because I'm adamant that it wasn't just slavery.
Yeah, it was states.
Right,
It was
adamant because there was an entire there's an entire argument to be made about property, which I'm evil enough to make that argument without caring what anyone thinks. But my new take on that, based on Democrats now, is because it was, make no mistake, it was the Democratic Party who was pushing for slavery then, and they say the same shit the slave owners said then now about illegal immigrants. Who will pick the cotton? They literally said that.
Yeah.
If we free the slaves, who will pick the cotton?
Yeah.
If we get rid of illegal immigrants, who will pick the fruit? I think that there is just a history with using human capital in the Democratic Party that needs to be recognized and rooted out.
I think that's both parties. So, like, I have a clip that I'm going to play at the end of the stream because I don't want to ruin it, but I think I can show fundamentally that both parties agree in some fashion about the economics behind immigrants, right?
I would agree with you there because the Republicans definitely want to give capital cheap labor.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not going to say it on your stream because it might be TOS, but my political ideology.
Yeah.
I am a socialist of sorts, just not a leftist.
But let's play this clip real quick so people can understand why the ICE director thinks that them wearing masks is the way of, like, they need to proceed. Because
I just want to interject.
Go for it.
I just want to interject real quick. That party was the Jeffersonian Democratic Republican Party.
Yeah.
All right.
Base. Okay, thank you for getting that information because I couldn't remember. But yeah.
No, not the mask. The mask. So a lot of agencies were invited to come out 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles where we ran an operation where ICE officers were doxxed. So let's just say that again. People are out there taking photos of the names, their faces, and posting them online with death threats to their family and themselves. So I'm sorry if people are offended by them wearing masks, but I'm not going to let my officers and agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their family on the line because people don't like what immigration enforcement is. They are wearing those masks because we ran an operation with the Secret Service where we arrested someone that was going online, taking their photos, posting their families, their kids' Instagram, their kids' Facebooks, and targeting them. So let me ask, is that the issue here, that we're just upset about the masks? Or is anyone upset with the fact that ICE officers' families were labeled terrorists?
What is dangerous about a high school junior? He was about to play in the graduation ceremony, playing in the band the next day. What is the danger of an 18-year-old to that community?
So I'll put it back on you. What about an 18-year-old who's just stopped for a traffic violation by Mass State Police, who's wanted to be a habitual traffic offender on his way to graduation? Would you be asking that same question to the Mass State Police for not arresting him? Like, I didn't say he was dangerous. I said he's in this country illegally, and we're not going to walk away from anybody.
So where is he? Is he having due process? Does he have a lawyer?
Yeah, well, the whole due process thing, ICE doesn't just scoop people off the street and remove them. Everyone gets due process, and that is what the U.S. Attorney's Office for. It's what the immigration courts are for. They all do that. He will go in front of an immigration judge. He'll have the opportunity to post bond. But again, I'm just going to ask you a question. Boston police stopped an 18-year-old on the way to high school. Are we having this conversation right?
Okay.
That made me think.
They didn't stop him. They didn't stop him. They went into the school and grabbed him.
Yeah, they grabbed him outside of the inside of the school, and that's why I'm just like, the framing that we do is just such a bad fucking, like, here's, like, ultimately, like, I agree, if you want to get, like, illegal immigrants are an issue in the country, fine, whatever, grant you that. Fuck, but is this really what we want to do? Because here's the thing.
Yes.
The city of LA is pretty much burning down. Well, not burning down. Like, from what I saw, there are, like, pockets that are bad, but not really the whole city.
2 cars and a crashed trash can.
Yeah.
The protests in LA have been underwhelming, to say the least.
Yeah, that like, here's the thing. Coverage is always those 5 cars, the 5 Wago cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's every coverage is like, look how violent they are, and I'm just
that's the only fucking video they show.
Yeah.
Like, where's the other stuff?
I'm just like, okay,
I'm surprised they haven't shown the person shooting at ICE by the donut shop.
Yeah, there was the one guy that shot and there's one guy that has a Molotov cocktail that was about to throw it at a cop.
Even that's underwhelming for a protest of that size, especially in LA.
Yeah. That's why I'm just like, if I had to do the math here, like 95% of those people are just probably standing around, and then 5% of the people are doing something. All right.
Oh yeah. Most of the people are like Hassan Piker or Ryan or Melanie leftists. Their little pussies get wet, and they have a white savior complex, or they're part of the ethnic community, and they think they're actually doing something. Well, like 10% of them are actually being violent and started. And like they're not even being violent because they believe, they're just being violent because there's potential to loot stores.
Yeah. And I think that's also an issue that like happens in almost any protest. Like you always have bad faith actors. Like here's the thing. I granted this to the Republicans during the Jan 6 stuff, that I was just like, yeah, I don't think everyone there was there for an insurrection, right? The issue that I came to was just like, we did have groups of people that were there to instigate, and that's why I would call it an insurrection. In this case, it's pretty much the same thing, where I see a group of people that behave a certain way, and then when they started fucking throwing chairs into the detention center and basically charging it, I was just like, okay, we're at the same fucking place.
Assaulting law enforcement.
That's the thing. Most politically minded people, once they pick a side, their side can do no wrong.
Exactly.
People like you and I call out the BS because it needs to be called out.
Yeah.
If you win a revolution, or if you win change even peacefully through nefarious or underhanded tactics, 9 times out of 10, and this is my problem with white nationalists, communists, leftists, rightists in this country, you don't actually want to benefit the people or your selected group. You're just angry that the current system doesn't bend over backwards to enrich you, and that you're not on top. You just want to replace the current paradigm with your people.
Yeah. And that's kind of the issue, that like, that's why I said earlier, like fundamentally we have to stop this like bullshit of like villainizing each other. Like there are, like, for me, there are good, like, the Republicans have always had some level of dignity, and the Democrats always have some level of like agreeability that I because I lean more left than I do right. But the issue that I'm finding right now is we have like basically like Hassan Piker and like the MAGA movement on, like, and it's just like, okay, when we have people this extreme, what are the answers? And it's just like, most people should just like basically alienate these groups out, right? Where you're just like, fuck you, you're not part of this movement. And I think the issue is these movements are getting some level of traction, at least from the Republican side. On the left, we're like like someone like me who's a liberal would fights against them pretty fucking often, but I think at some point, like, there's just so much that you have to fight that you're just like, if you're fighting the Republicans and your side at the same time, it's a hard battle, you know.
Well, you mentioned Hassan Piker, right? And you heard my argument about a fifth column in the country. Whenever you have an agitator like Hassan Piker, who is foreign and who pushes all of these ideologies, right?
Yeah.
You're giving not only people with my beliefs and my ideology ammunition. You're giving, the bigger problem is you're giving Republicans and state capital and capitalists ammunition. Because having somebody like Hassan Piker, who is legitimately pro-terrorist organization,
yeah,
for the sake of it being against Israel, like that right there is like, makes your movement dead in the water.
Yeah, like it basically, and that's why, like, it's hard for me, like, when I go on like panels or something, I basically have to say I'm a leftist, because the Republican Party just cannot distinguish the difference between a leftist and a liberal at this point. And it's just like, okay, like, I'm a liberal, but I have to fucking say I'm a lefty now, just because people will automatically conflate the two, and I just don't feel like fighting that that argument every time, so I'm just like, fuck it. Just to side skirt that argument, I can fucking at least seem reasonable when I'm approaching like Republicans or like approaching someone with like a different mindset than I have.
Well, that's why I just outright say what I am without fear of repercussions, and I don't care if people are automatically turned off for like the 80 years of propaganda. Because when I speak and I talk about issues, I talk about it from my perspective and my beliefs. I don't have a party line to toe. I don't have any of these problems that happen. Like, I don't view you as a leftist per se. I view you as kind of like a centrist, me personally. You're definitely not like the radical coder or Melanie.
Yeah. I think they'd be more left than I am, but like I am a liberal. Like when I like look
But
at
they're outright Marxists.
Yeah,
they
like,
just don't want to admit it.
I think Melanie would admit to some levels
socialism. No, Melanie tries to dodge and weave around it, and he says that he is a post-communist leftist. Post-communism just means they recognize that communism fails every time it tries, but hey, this time we'll get it right.
Yeah. Like personally, I'm a capitalist. I think capitalism is probably the most base thing that we have in the country.
And that would put you on bad terms with them guys.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people would argue, a lot of lefties would argue with me because of that aspect. And for me, like,
real capitalism has never been tried either. You know, if you talk to
for sure,
if you talk to libertarians, they say the same thing commies say.
For sure, but that's because so nothing like I've explained this to like people that are like, we should go socialist or we should go like communist, right? I'm just like, there's nothing that has ever existed in purity, right? Like even capitalism as we have it today isn't a entirely free market.
There's one thing that existed in purity.
Well, imperialism, if you want to go.
No, not imperialism. It happened in the 1930s, and it took the entire planet to stop it out.
Yeah.
That's actually the best argument.
National socialism is a bitch.
National socialism.
Yeah.
Whenever I convert somebody, like my friend's dad, like my best friend, the Frenchman that I was enjoying this wine and cheese with, I converted him to a National Socialist, right?
Yeah.
And the argument, like, it was never the statistics, it was never the crime rate, it was never like the shit that mattered. It was when his dad, who's a communist, and he got mad at me, we started debating. And I ended it by saying, dude, it took an entire planet to stomp out this ideology. Like, yeah, they lost, I get that. But it took the entire planet to stomp out a country with an ideology the size of Texas.
Yeah, it was
had severe resource deficiencies.
But we were pissed off about their economic progress. We were pissed off about other shit. Like it was.
I mean, the other shit is indicative of human nature. People unfairly attribute that to National Socialism, but that's human nature.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Every system has that type of past.
Yeah, an economic system is separated from the entirety of it. That's why I would.
No. While you weren't mad about their economic system, the governments that fought against them were.
I don't even think that's true.
Yeah.
Like
you gotta look at the government systems they were against. Capitalism and communism, two birds of the same coin. The population, because the big bad incident that you're referencing wasn't something that was well known. And I'm not going to put my opinion on that.
Oh yeah, no. I'm talking more when they decided to go cross their borders. That's typically why people got pissed, right? Like that was like
their border. They were just reclaiming their territory that was taken from them in World War One. And the thing is, if it was really about the invasions of other lands, Britain and France would have declared war on the Soviet Union, because Poland had a guarantee of independence by France and Britain, but Russia also invaded Poland.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not about Germany invading other countries.
But
it was their economic power and the growth of Germany threatened to displace capitalism as the dominant system, as well as displace French and French and British power in
Well,
the continent of Europe.
there was also the fact that fighting Russia at that time would have been an economic disaster for them, where Germany was close enough that it was just like, okay, there's someone that if things pop off a little bit more, they could potentially come to us. So they had to put their feet in the sand essentially for that country particularly, because Russia was
the economic argument is completely wrong.
well,
Russia was not an economic power. The USSR at the time was not an economic powerhouse.
Well,
it was struggling on many fronts.
No, I'm saying that it would be an economic disaster for them to engage with war with Russia. It's just the distance that they would have to travel, everything that all the costs that would be economically disastrous for them.
My brother in Christ, you saw the disaster itself that was World War II.
Yeah,
if they were willing to sacrifice that many men, if they were willing to sacrifice that many men and that much of their economy to defeat Germany, you have to see the credence in what I'm saying.
For sure, but that's because more of the damage that they had already committed to, right? That's not necessarily because of if Russia decided
Germany took that territory back without firing a shot. And they would have taken Poland back. They would have taken Poland back, or that portions of Poland that Danzig was rightful German territory. All right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, everything that the Germans get accused of was done to them after World War I, and then continued after World War II. Granted, if I was talking to a leftist, they would justify that by saying, "Well, look at the evils Germany did," but World War I, Germany was not the evil empire. They were defending an ally.
They were
into America.
The issue, Israel. Yeah, they were aligned with the Axis at that moment, and they kind of paid the price for it. And that's kind of the price that you pay for working with those people. It was just
everyone supported Austria in the beginning, because they had a righteous casus belli worldwide. The issue is economics, as it always is. Capitalists saw potential in destabilizing Austria. They saw potential in destabilizing Germany. Our French and English capitalists, that is, specifically, they saw an opportunity to be made. They saw an economic gain. And when National Socialism came about, it posed an inherent threat to both capitalism and communism, because capitalism does not exist without communism, and communism does not exist without capitalism.
Well, all three of them don't exist without each other.
National Socialism is a natural human response to capitalism and communism. So I would agree with you, because without the dangers of either of those two, National Socialism does not have a reason to exist.
That's the whole reason. Capitalism is the coin to the. That's why it's just all three of them exist, because they have to exist within the paradigm, right? You have communism.
No. National Socialism can exist without them.
No,
it is where humanity will
because
go
it is the reflection of the two, right? So you have communism, which is a state-based thing where it's just everyone's equal, blah blah blah, everything's owned by the state. That goes there. Then you have capitalism, which is free markets. We just let everyone roll as they want to, blah blah. Then you have National Socialism, where it's okay, this is the divergence of both of them, right? So all three of them are
taking what's best this is what's taking what's best out of each system and implementing it without having the greed of capitalism or the idiocracy of communism.
But all countries do that, right? I would argue that America is it within a because it's not a true capitalist society, right? This is more of
true capitalism has never been tried.
Yeah, for sure. But I would say
it leads to cronyism, just like real communism has never been tried, because there will never be a stateless society.
Yeah,
those who hold power are the de facto government.
Yeah, but I would say that America falls within some sort of social capitalist society, right? Because we do care about welfare, we care about protecting some of our citizens, we care about the social aspects that we would see within socialism.
Is socialism for the rich. Capitalism is nothing more than socialism for the rich.
Well, no, because capitalism as its whole isn't, right? Because capitalism hasn't existed, because free markets would just basically be it would just lead to corporatism, which we don't have yet. Like, we never got to that point. A lot of people would like to argue that we're in that section, but I don't. I just don't see any evidence for us being in some sort of like corporate oligarchy. I think if anyone's closer to that, it would be our current Russia, and that would be the only like place that I would be like falls within that line.
God willing, most of the world will never have to see an actual corporatist state.
Yeah.
And that's where me and Bumpkin disagree. He's a corporatist because he's like a Mussolini fascist, and I'm like, ha, gay.
Yeah, that is
Me and
gay.
him both heads on that.
That is gay, and that's why Russia's failing, right? Like, I think when you do that kind of stuff, like when you put oligarchs in power, when you basically just are just running off like a corporate mindset, you basically put yourself in a position to never really have some sort of expanse, which I think America has done a really good job at with our influence of capitalism, but having the regulations that we need on it so we can not necessarily have it go off the rails so quickly, right? Eventually,
remember, true capitalism would mean that you would bring back slavery, because wherever there's a market
sure.
in a necessary market, like
for sure.
And I love when I talk to libertarians, they get angry at me because I say libertarians are just people who want their freaky shit legalized.
Yeah,
like that even means child slavery, and I'm not going to go into detail about that. We all know what I mean when I say that.
Yeah.
And that in a truly capitalist system, that means everything is for sale.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
And that
free
it's a free market, right? And that's why it would never work. That's why a regulated market is what's needed. It's just about how much regulation we want. That's why I think we do fit into the definition of a capitalist society, but I would say more of a social capitalist society where we have
all I need to know from you. Does the state exist to benefit the people, or do the people exist to benefit the state?
Does the state exist to benefit the people, or does the people?
There are two questions.
I don't think that it's a single paradigm. I think it's a little bit of both, right? The people definitely benefit the state. That's not an arguable thing. Like, if you are not part of the economy, then how does your economy run, right? Like that's just common sense in capitalism. You cannot operate without your civilians feeding into it. But since we operate also on the social aspect of things, the state does have to look after its people, because they need to regulate things to make sure that their markets are handled.
So essentially, you're saying the state exists to benefit the people. Do corporations? Do the people exist to benefit corporations, or do the corporations exist to benefit the people?
Okay, corporations are like the only benefit that the people get from that is products, and that doesn't necessarily is a grand thing. Right.
And jobs,
to
technological growth, medical care, all sorts of things.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that the corporations necessarily benefit the people.
Corporations
not intentionally.
Yeah,
corporations do intentionally benefit the people. That's why you couldn't have a massive corporation in the U.S. that did not benefit the public interest until the Dodge brothers threw board.
Not if the corporation wasn't regulated, right? We think of corporations in a well-regulated system. If a
I just realized I am derailing your stuff. I apologize.
Oh no, dude! This is the point of the show. Like that's kind of the whole point of the show. We talk about
it's supposed to be Discord convos. Just goes anywhere.
Yeah. So like, don't worry about that.
Yeah, I felt bad for a minute. I do apologize.
No, you're good.
You're good, bro.
You're good. Yeah, but like I'm saying, like if we're operating within a regulated system, then corporations do inherently help, but that's because of the regulation. If a corporation is
asking your opinion, not the way it is. I'm asking what your opinion on both of those things are, not the way it is.
I know that's why I'm saying, like, if a corporation exists, that's why I'm just explaining like the thought process behind it. If a corporation is allowed to exist with no regulations, I don't think inherently they would be helping anyone, because they would be taking advantage of people, right? Cheap labor is something they'll always look to. Slavery would probably be the way they would go about it. And
that's why I ask you. That's why I ask you the way I asked them, because under my system, the state exists to benefit the people, and the corporation exists to benefit the people. Without a benefit to the public good, these things should not exist, and they are inherently treasonous and should be rooted out at all costs.
For sure, but like that's why with me and you, I think that's going to be our like fundamentally where we butt heads. Where I like the social capitalist society that I live in. I think there are benefits to both the people and the state. Like it is like almost a symbiotic relationship. Where if the citizens are doing good, the state does good. If the state does good, citizens do good. That's typically what we see in our nation, and that's kind of where
with me though. I think in a roundabout way you're agreeing with me.
Well, no, because the issue is I don't believe in any system that inherently exists as purity. I just don't think anything can exist that way. Because the issue is it runs into problems way too quickly. Because there's not malleability when you're existing in purity. So when you have like systems,
is there not malleability? Because you don't need malleability. You need to be able to react to nuanced systems and.
For sure, and that's the malleability that you need. That's what I'm saying. Within like let's say our economy, it's like a social capitalist society, so it can manage to pull some of the socialist aspects of things and then still keep the capitalist mindset of advancement and all these other things. Where if I'm operating just in socialism or like national socialism, the advancement for these things aren't incentivized at a higher rate because it's not as free as a market, right? You have
capitalist propaganda, because we're lagging behind in innovation. Europe and China specifically, technological innovation, and then the adaptation of that technology into their markets and into their everyday people's lives are far beyond what the U.S. is doing.
No,
China, for instance, has high-speed trains. We do not.
China has high-speed trains, but do you know why China has high-speed trains? Because China's really good at replicating. Innovation wise, they suck at, like they are not, like if you look at how their military crafts are, they're still lagging behind us by like I think 5 to 10 years. But that's because our military tech is strictly hidden. When something becomes public though, they are able to get their hands on it. Like that AI that came out for them, right? DeepSeek.
They're also lagging, but they're also lagging behind us because up until I would say 2010, they were still an industrializing country.
For sure. And
now that they are no longer industrializing and they are in fact industrialized, they are able to rapidly advance. Well, and you will see in the next 10 or 20 years, they are good.
They're going up. They're going up for sure. And I wouldn't say they aren't going up. I'm just saying America has positioned itself as like one of the.
And America's stagnating.
Well, yeah, for sure. And I think that's also why I believe in like the CHIPS Act and stuff like that, where when we bring technology back over here, that's what we have to incentivize. Like, I don't want a shit ton of regulations on AI development because that kind of fucks us in the long run. Because any country that basically gets to the finish line on AI is basically leading the world for a little while. And no matter what country it is, that's the goal, right? But even when we look at like China's like DeepSeek, it's not that much more advanced than like ChatGPT, which was already like outdated AI. So I'm just like, they are nowhere near the mark for like where we are in innovation.
Here's my take on AI. Right, it's a nothing burger. These are large language models. These are not true AIs.
Oh yeah,
maybe
no,
I agree.
The end goal.
models are not
when
revolutionary the way people think they are.
Well, the thing is, if I can, it's how you program these things. So basically, I can just solve problems at a quicker rate. That's what AIs are going to be used for, right? Like that's what fundamentally that's the goal to reach at the end. I don't think that AI is going to become humanly intelligent, right? Yeah. The thing is they can process data quick, and that's what we want. And people say we're already there. We're not. We're scratching the surface right now. That's why so much development is going in at the moment, because it's just like we need to get to the layers that we need to, where mathematical problems will get solved quickly. Yeah, that's
it's just like communications technology. It's ever advancing. We're already there. I mean, look at the AI used at the drones by Ukraine and Russia. We're already there. We're now just going to see improvement, and as it's used militarily speaking. Me and Flo had this argument on Flow States. There has been no advancement in human history that was not funded by the state, because technological progress is not profitable. You do not have a market for it, and only if you are able to hold patents and monopolies would it be profitable. So in the systems like the U.S. and the modern world, you're not really allowed to have a monopoly unless you're a state-owned company. Yeah. The state grants it to you. And because it's not profitable, that investment has to come, like the state has to eat that profit loss.
Well,
and then
are there any stats on who's the biggest innovator?
Yeah,
like
America
compared to like
U.S. government,
military and stuff like that.
Yeah, military.
Yes, the U.S. government via the military.
Yeah, because of the amount of subsidies and contracting work that the military department does, right? And yeah, Crab is absolutely correct that generative AI is very different than a large language model. But that'd be the argument that we're going towards, where it's just like, yeah, we have to progress towards a certain level of like being like, okay, this is what we need.
Could I pose a question of like, if it's more like if you rather, would you rather have more state power and control, or no, would you sacrifice some level of innovation for more state power and control or something like that?
Yes.
If it was like more efficient.
Naturally, yes. Yeah, naturally, yes. And that's I think that's the sticky line that America finds itself in, because okay, I hear both sides argue this, right? Where corporations should be deregulated and let basically breathe, right? From the Republicans, and then the other side is we want regulations all the way in, and I'm just like, there's a sweet spot that we're looking for, and I don't think either of you understand this, that we don't want to lose the innovation we have, right? Because when it comes to medical tech, when it comes to technology in general, when it comes to medicine, when it comes to almost anything, America is one of the world leaders in almost every field, and that's kind of impressive at this point. So when we have something that could potentially move us off that, because you want to essentially deregulate and just go full incentivization, and it's just like, okay, then they basically can operate and play whatever game they want, and just what is the incentive for them at that point? Or you go full regulations where there is no incentive because you basically cut them off at the legs. You want that sweet spot in the middle to figure the thing out.
I will return, but Ryan is saying incredibly stupid things about fascism and national socialism on Sarah's panel. I will return, so I have to go bully him a little bit. He's like a little brother to me. Yeah, so I have to go correct his behavior.
Tell him to put on his gloves. I do miss Coder wearing his gloves. He was a lot more powerful with those gloves on.
I like Coder. I do. I think that he suffers from TDS.
Yeah.
I think he suffers from TDS.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
can't.
Unfortunately. And I'm not going to lie. There's a part of my brain that's just like, but it's just like, I think fundamentally I focus more on issues. And I think that's where most of the left should be at the moment.
Never mind. I think Sarah just ended it.
Oh, did she?
Oh, no. It just glitched out. No, you can't have a conversation. Like, he calls Trump a fascist, and I'm like, he's not. I didn't see him at the board meeting. Like, I didn't know. He's definitely not a fascist. Like I can tell you, because I'm a fascist.
I never see any utility in those terms like that. I mean, if you want to be correct for some autistic state's sake, I'm like, I fine, but like, it never moves discourse forward using those fucking labels.
For sure.
It does when you're with people who don't try to label everything they don't like as the thing they don't like. You know? Like if I don't like cheese and I label everything as cheese, it kind of destroys the conversation, right?
Well, I get that, but I just think like in certain like environments and whatever, you're just like, oh, you're a fascist. Like, what am I going to say to that? Like, go fuck yourself.
Well, yeah, that's what you say if you're not a fascist. I'm a fascist, so I'll just reply yes, yes. And you're wrong. That's not fascism. I despise that. It's when people suffer. It's when people, and I told this to Ryan. The left is in a ideological cult, and the right is in a cult of personality with Trump.
Yeah,
and that's all it ends up being. But I shall return because I'm enjoying this conversation. But
right.
I have to go pick on Ryan a little bit.
Yeah, go do that.
Peace out, guys. I'll see you in a little bit.
See you in a little bit. Good chat. Good chat.
All right. I did want to make a comment about this particular clip and this claim about like masks and stuff like that. It makes me think of like the comic book trope. The reason I wear a mask is like I don't want you to get hurt, Mary Jane, or some kind of Batman bullshit.
Yeah. I think if you're signing up to a government job, you should be prepared to face some level of like discourse from the public.
Yeah.
That's
a risk. It's a risk.
Like it's one of those known risks that you're gonna have while working for a public sector. So I just don't really give that much a lot of credence.
I mean, you just think of this like if all of our law enforcement was these maskless fucking vigilante type, it would like the public trust would be eroded.
Gone exactly. And that's why I'm just like, yeah, wearing a mask is probably not the right call, even if you're saying they got doxxed or blah blah blah. Doesn't matter, honestly. You're hurting the public trust by just basically acting like basically what would be a gulag, like Gestapo fucking army.
Yeah.
But
I don't even remember what the hell we were doing.
We were on the protest, which honestly, I'm just gonna show a couple clips, and then we'll get into what happened today, because I think today was pretty important and pretty significant.
Before we do that, talk with chat.
What's up, chat?
Talk with them. Make them feel like they're here with you.
They are here with
Talk
me.
with them.
They are with here.
Talk with them. You have to talk with your
They're not talking
They
back.
haven't heard you. They haven't heard you talk with them in so long.
It's in like an hour, yeah. But that's because we were having a conversation.
They want you.
But yeah, they're talking amongst themselves, and that's kind of the thing. But yeah, chat. What do you guys think? I don't know. That conversation was interesting, and I it's been a while since I've had to go through my fucking mindsets again.
You gotta use your brain today. It's weird.
Yeah, not normal. I was gonna sit this one through and just be like, yeah, people are being stupid.
Well, let's see. Let's get the vibe in the chat. Crab did make a point about Switzerland has been ranked as the most innovative the past 14 years in a row.
By what metric? Like they don't lead in medical incentivization. I know that maybe chip manufacturing, because they're really good at that, but again, when we're talking about like the innovations that we put into machinery, America leads. Talking planes, everything that they make the thing that makes everything run, but we make the stuff. So it's about specialization.
So. But yeah, let's do some clips. What do we feel like right now?
Let's get some meat and potatoes.
Some meat and potatoes.
I
Let's
don't
go.
know. No. Let's build. Let's build into it. What you got next?
What I had next was the TV protester, the journalist that got shot with the rubber bullet.
We can do the journalist. We need some funny.
Yeah, we need some.
After hours of standing off, this situation has now rapidly deteriorated. The LAPD
This clip is
moving
fucking
in on
hilarious.
horseback, firing rubber bullets at protesters, moving them on through the heart of LA. You just shut the
Oh God, why? That's so bad. Dude,
I can't. Like in my first instinct is to think he pointed straight at her and just shot at her. It's like, bitch.
Yep.
But like, there's a lot I don't know. I mean, you can zoom in on that guy. Is there a way to do that? Or
yeah, no, we're gonna do playback speed. We're gonna slow this down. All right.
How rapidly deteriorated the LA.
It's this guy. It's this guy right here.
On
Right.
horseback.
He's just chilling.
Firing rubber
Leg is on the
bullets
curb.
at protesters,
then straight ahead. His
moving
buddy's
them
talking to
on
him.
through the heart
Okay.
of LA.
He starts looking on him right.
So what? He looks at her. Bam.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong guy. He just looks dead at her and shoots her.
Yeah, dude. There's not a lot of excuses here. Like my assumption at this moment is that this car was barreling at her, and he was trying to save her life. That's where I am with it.
He's like, get out of the road, you dumb bitch.
Yeah, he saved her life.
I don't see. Is there anything behind her though that would make you? Or is it hard to tell?
I don't think there's another camera angle for this.
Protesters moving them on.
He's kind of looking
But he's looking
down that way.
He's looking down this way. Then he looks
Straight
that
going
way.
down that way.
He sees the car.
Looks
Look,
that way.
he looks at the car. He sees the people walking in the street. He points at her and then he shoots.
He couldn't just yell at her.
I think it was legitimately just because the car was passing. Which,
Man, is there some noise we couldn't pick up? Like, clearly there's some noise suppression in the background so we can hear her talk. Maybe he was yelling at her to move. I don't know.
that was too quick to yell move. Like, that's at 0.5 speed. You gotta factor that in. At
People
normal
just didn't
speed,
like Australians.
at normal speed, that wouldn't be fucking great. Look, let's go here. Like, he did not yell stop. There's no way he yelled stop.
Oh, just throwing it out there. Trying to figure it out.
Nah, that man just decided to shoot someone. But yeah, we got a reporter shot on the 9th, and then from the 9th this is where things popped off to a large degree. This is where we got this is where we get our fires. We saw clips earlier of it, so I'm just not going to go through all the clips we have for that.
And we did have a protester shot in the head. Was bleeding all over the place. And then the officer supposedly didn't want to get her medical attention.
Yeah, but I don't have a clip for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what happened after that was basically Sunday was when the National Guard was called in, right? Saturday night is when they showed up. Sunday is when they're out and about.
Yeah, I haven't seen much on the National Guard.
Yeah,
I just mainly was focused on the first day.
Well, the thing is, the National Guard can't really act up at the moment because they're not there.
They're more like oversight for the federal buildings and shit.
Yeah. They're just protection for that. They can't really commit any arrests. They can detain people, but they can't arrest anyone. So they're just kind of like hands tied behind their backs at the moment. And then this day is where we also got the fires and everything. So everything started popping off when the National Guard showed up, which is why I would make the argument that this was sending the National Guard in was just an escalation that was unnecessary. I think the LAPD was doing a fairly good job at handling the situation. Yeah, we had some situations that got a little bit out of hand, but it's not enough to warrant the National Guard coming in. At this time is where we start seeing protests break out in other states as well. We have people in Chicago.
I'm Zach with Meta
mind.
PCs, and we are a PC builder here in Arizona that ships nationwide. Our
So we have people going through this. This is in Chicago. So it seems like setting the National Guard in did not have the desired result. If anything, it just inflamed the rest of the nation and put us in a situation that we're much worse off. Dragging people off. And then we also have demonstrations out in New York as well.
We're seeing protests pop up in other cities across. As you know, we saw
We heard from New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch, and she gave us a good idea about the scope of these demonstrations. She said that yesterday around 2,500 demonstrators were marching all throughout Lower Manhattan, eventually making their way here to Foley Square. Now, she said that those demonstrations, that protest, was overwhelmingly peaceful. However, after some time, she said there were about 400 of those demonstrators who began to act unruly by throwing bottles, throwing police traffic cones at police officers. Out of those 400 demonstrators, 86 were arrested, 34 were charged with assault, among other charges. Now,
which is higher than almost any other state at this point. So
we're being told that
it seems like the escalation is just happening and happening. What else do we have? We also have Tucson, Arizona. I think people have seen this video, but this is happening out. So yeah, not looking great. Not looking great in the rest of the country. Did you say something, Sean?
It's just a flesh wound. No, yeah.
This was today, Lauren. All these clips from like other cities. I just got the most recent ones. I wasn't gonna go day by day for everyone. I was doing it day by day for LA because LA seems to be the starting point. We also have this coming out of San Antonio today.
Hey, my state. That's a movie clip, sir. Oh.
No.
We are here. Thank you all very much for showing up today. We're here to discuss the local law enforcement and external agency law enforcement activity we've been made aware of this week. So I'm going to turn it over to the chief to tell you where we are, what we know.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all. Thanks for being here.
This is
the San Antonio Police Department fully
supports
Police Department. The right to peacefully demonstrate. We recognize how important it is to protect this fundamental freedom. Everyone involved, demonstrators, bystanders, and officers. We've established protocols to ensure demonstrations are managed safely and effectively. These plans allow for the free expression of First Amendment rights while reducing risks to public safety. If police intervention becomes necessary, it will be carried out according to department policy with strong emphasis on de-escalation and maintaining order. As always, I'm in communication with our state and federal law enforcement partners to coordinate and prioritize public safety for the San Antonio community. We remain committed to keeping the public informed about our actions during these events. Transparency is essential to maintaining the trust and support that we've built in our community.
Also, this is to get ahead of the No Kings protest, was taking place on Saturday, same time as Trump's birthday celebration.
Keeping Senate
or what people are calling Trump's birthday celebration. So yeah, that they have to pretty much set up everything for that because there's going to be a shit ton of people out there.
Antonio safe is a shared responsibility.
I don't know how the fuck he's
urge
still
all of
alive.
those who choose to demonstrate to do so peacefully. If you see something suspicious or dangerous behavior, call 911 immediately and move to a safe
Who's
location.
still alive?
Trump, he's gonna be 79 and he's an unhealthy person.
First, I want to acknowledge
assuming.
the presence of my colleagues.
Have you heard? Have
First
you
of all,
not heard the
Councilmember,
medical report? He's healthy as a
Alpha
bull.
Vito from District 7.
Health.
We also have Chief of the Fire Department, Valerie Frausto here, of course, Chief McManus. We have Maria Villagomez, our Deputy City Manager, and we do have our Mayor-elect. I'll make a few statements, then we'll go into questions. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge the anger and frustration that's out there with the federal government's crude interpretations of immigration law and cruel approach to human rights. I empathize with the serious fatigue that this federal administration is causing within our community, but I will reinforce the Chief's call to remain peaceful should you choose to demonstrate this weekend. I also want to offer my full faith and support to both the San Antonio Police Department and the greater San Antonio community to maintain peace and order. I'm confident that San Antonio knows how to do this right. Exercise
Welcome,
your right
digital
to free
denizen.
speech, but I urge you to keep it lawful and peaceful. Disruption, destruction is never appropriate, nor will it be tolerated. So please be safe, San Antonio. And with that, we'll take questions.
Question, did you request the governor to send the Texas National Guard? Was there any conversation about that? Have any advisement on what happened?
No, sir, and nor did we get any advance warning.
Is this the first?
Okay, just to be clear, Abbott has sent in the National Guard at this point.
And several of the mayors were like, we didn't know about it.
Yep, a lot of the people.
I think they're. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, a lot of the people are just like, I don't know where this came from. Why are we doing this?
It could be them understanding that the National Guard could possibly escalate stuff, so they're kind of like, we don't know about it.
Yeah, I don't. Again, as we saw with LA, sending in the National Guard just escalates everything to a large degree, and it makes it spread. So I don't think Abbott's made the right call here.
But I would want to know, just for the how are you connecting the dots that the National Guard being there escalated things? How do you know it just wouldn't naturally escalate it on its own?
Well, because we saw the first 2 days, and the first 2 days we had a die-off effect happening, right? The first day being the worst because that was where we saw the trash can on fire. The second day didn't really see anything that bad. The third day, when the National Guard was there, is where things popped seriously off, which was the Sunday, where we saw the five cars on fire, where we saw...
Correlation is not causation. I just don't see the direct link.
Yeah, you can say that, but it seems like when you do that kind of behavior, you have people act up, and that's just natural escalations. Like when you bring something that's going to be perceived as necessarily hostile to these people, they're definitely going to be acting out more. It's not going to have a chilling effect.
Right. Okay.
So when you call in the National Guard for Texas, which Texas has had its moments, don't get me wrong, but when you do that, you're basically asking for a more escalatory situation. When I think their police departments are more than able to handle it, especially since the National Guard would basically have its hands tied. Like they're only there to stand there, right? They're not necessarily, they can't make arrests. That's what the police department's there for. And now these police departments are spreading themselves thin because this basically the police department has to like section off a part that would be of their department that's watching over the National Guard.
Well, you could say if there's no cops there, there's no one to throw rocks at. I'm being dumb.
Yeah, that's a dumb argument. But yeah, it just spreads the cops out thinner. It just makes situation worse. There's no reason for the National Guard to be involved in these situations. Someone could make the argument that there is a high level of destruction, but like it's just like, okay, like it seems there are pockets that I would say have damage to them. I would say the graffiti is high, but with the National Guard being necessarily having their hands tied, I don't see the point.
Yeah. Also, another thing I worry about, like, I don't know necessarily the protocol, especially when you're dealing with crowd control and whatnot. The fact that the officer, are they told to only have non-lethal weapons on them, or like, I don't know.
Well, less than lethal,
because you're bringing a gun into like a hostile situation like that.
Yeah,
and you're wrestling people surrounding you. They can grab your gun and like go pow pow pow.
Yeah, this is the problem with bringing the Marines in on fucking on U.S. territory, right? We don't train them.
Could you imagine the protesters getting a hold of a tank? That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, like Marines aren't trained in necessarily de-escalation, so they're just they're kind of being trained at the moment to fucking go through that, and that's just not. This seems like a ridiculous amount of force that is unnecessary at this point. Yeah, if you want to make a point, then make your point, but this just doesn't. It won't make sense for me to be like, yeah, this is definitely necessary. Sending in
Lauren said something about them changing something after BLM.
Oh, what do you mean?
I don't know what she means.
What do you mean, Lauren? Currently, like they literally can't arrest anyone. They can detain people. They can protect the government building, but that's all they're there for. They can't arrest people. That's 100% under their purview of the police department.
Yeah.
For them to be able to arrest people, we would have to be going into like some level of martial law, and that's when shit gets fucking wild. It's already wild.
The funny thing, I could see Trump calling it.
Yeah, for sure. If he calls the Insurrection Act on all these cities, because let's put on one of these. We can show that
we are not a traditional cafe. We're completely unconventional. And my book's website really has to capture the same magic.
Against the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration are growing across the country and also right here in Texas.
Take a look at this video out of Austin this morning, and that's where we're told that the protest there was organized by a group that calls themselves the Party for Socialism and Liberation. That group is now calling for an end to the immigration crackdowns that are happening across the country. Meantime, organizers also gathered near downtown Dallas in what they described as a move of solidarity with the protesters in Los Angeles. Just before 10 o'clock last night, Dallas police declared the protest to be an unlawful assembly. Officers arrested one person whose charges are now pending.
Meantime, tensions between protesters and law enforcement on the rise in...
Yeah, as you can see, it's like they're not doing a lot. Like everyone is.
I have to ask a question about protests. Like, what protest that's been just like purely peaceful that's ever done shit? You know what I'm saying?
There have been protests that exist like that.
Like most protests, for anything to really get done, it has to be a little fucky. Like even with Martin Luther King, even though it was it was peaceful protest, there was some level of non-resistant force, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like that, not backing down and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're seeing in some places. You're not seeing that everywhere, right? Obviously, if we look at if we see this
Let's get right out to Fox 13's Jennifer.
It's formed and they're coming down through the streets here. And I believe they're using those less lethal rounds to break up this protest and this bonfire. It looks like they are spraying either pepper spray or some sort of mace as well. We have some people that are confronting them, but most of the crowd looks like they're dispersing as this line pushes forward. So we've had this bonfire burning for quite a while now, maybe about 20 minutes to half an hour. And we've heard some explosions happening in the bonfire. So this bonfire has stayed mostly in the street.
Yeah, you see, the police department can more than handle this situation.
I mean, those explosions happening in the street, so it didn't look like it was damaging any buildings. But the bonfire...
They're on bikes. These are bike cops. They can handle the situation. No place needs the National Guard.
So we noticed that fire crews arrived and started staging up the block there along with the police. Oh, and right now we can really get that whiff of that pepper spray. I'm going to step back even as it's getting a little bit hard to breathe over here. Or the mace, whatever they used.
Yeah, the National Guard is a complete waste, and it's just an escalatory thing that's happening. We can look at Atlanta.
6:42 here on the East Coast, and welcome back to Live Now from Fox. Right now, I want to head out to the Peach State of Georgia. In Brookhaven, 6 people were arrested during an anti-ICE protest. Police saying the protesters damaged 3 squad cars as they threw rocks and set off fireworks. Officers using tear gas to disperse the crowd. Right now, we're going to check in with Fox 5 Atlanta's Mark Teichner. He joins us live in Brookhaven with this developing story. Mark, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Brookhaven, a suburb of Atlanta, and the police here had found out about this protest, and they contacted the organizers and said everything had to wrap up by 9:30 last night. Well, the organizers agreed, and they actually left at 9 o'clock. It was some remaining stragglers that stayed and ended up in a confrontation with law enforcement.
Now you will be arrested.
Protesters set off fireworks as law enforcement break up an anti-ICE rally in Brookhaven. We watched as officers physically moved a woman from the area. Brookhaven police say in addition to lighting the fireworks, the protesters threw rocks, damaging 3 squad cars by smashing their windows. Police arrested 6 people and used tear gas to disperse the crowd. Earlier, before the time organizers and police agreed the protest would come to an end, the crowd chanted in both English and Spanish, many of them waving Mexican flags.
They deported my grandpa last night. They raided his house for no reason.
This man, who is a U.S. citizen, came out because after working here for 25 years, his grandfather was just deported.
My people are protesting, and I'm so proud of them because at the end of the day, these people don't know what we're going through, struggling, building houses, cutting everybody's grass, making this America rich.
One of those who was arrested, that took place earlier, and we were told by Brookhaven police that was because of Kevin.
Yeah, not great. Not great. But
I just hope whenever Trump calls for martial law and it gets real bad, that the aliens go ahead and invade and takes our attention off this shit.
Yeah.
Just some fucking Watchmen shit.
Yeah. But again, we have all this stupid shit happening, and it's just instead of the president having some sort of chilling effect and being able to calm things down, Oh, he's just
I
riling
mean, come
people
on,
up.
come on. Who's president?
Well,
Who's the president?
he did it today. He did it today, which
Not on Trump socials. Not sure. Didn't do that.
yeah, on Truth Social, he was like, they're taking away farmers. We need to look into this. Blah blah blah. Like,
I read that and I didn't read all the way because as soon as I saw farmer, I was like, I'm bored.
yeah, no, he wants immigrants that are working on farms. Crazy. It's almost like they're needed in some industries, and he doesn't want to get rid of them because he knows it's
All the psyop on it. There's this 40 chess, man. He really doesn't want to really deport immigrants. he's just playing these games.
Well, the thing is, you can't be like, oh, they're all criminals, right? Like, the crazy thing is they'll like release like a number of like I think I heard like 100 in the first day of like the 118 for the first day in California. They said 5 of them were like convicted murderers and rapists and all this other stuff, and I'm just like, 5?
And you get
5?
And again on Truth Social, and again on Truth Social today, he said many or like what did he say? The way he phrased it, he almost said the same thing. Like most of the immigrants are fucking criminals or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, they are criminals, right? Because they crossed the border. That's what makes them criminals.
But it's like the pot calling the kettle black with Trump, though.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, I just think that like where I classify that is not the same level as like a murderer or like what he's describing, right? Like,
well, we talked about it. It's more like colloquially when we think of criminal, we think of robbers and people stabbing people and shooting people. Well, technically, they broke the law by crossing legally, but they're not criminals.
Yeah.
A vast majority of them not fucking coming over here to like fuck shit.
Like, technically, when you go 5 miles over the speed limit, you're breaking the law, right?
Yeah, we're all criminals by that standard.
Yeah, like it's just like, okay, is that the line we're all gonna draw? That, like, if you want these people out, fine, I agree, do it. But this is the dumbest way to do something because it just makes everything look bad. There's no winning position here. And that's kind of the major issue that I see with like a lot of this. But let's get into the gnome situation.
The gnome?
The gnome situation.
Was there an actual gnome?
Christy gnome.
Oh, it's weird because I saw a Facebook post like people were chasing a gnome in the freaking yard.
Weird.
But it was... Oh, this is the part I needed to see.
Yeah, this is the whole thing. So we're just gonna watch up until the point because I just want to see what led up to that.
How we doing? A couple more minutes? We can wait. Thank you. You bet. President Donald J. Trump, and I am so thankful for the men and women of law enforcement who have been working every single day to bring law and order and peace back to the citizens of Los Angeles and to the state of California. As you know, we've seen under this last week some operations that have been working to bring in criminals that have been out on our streets for far too long. Our SI and ICE individuals have been out conducting operations with our government partners to make sure that these criminals, bad actors, murderers, rapists, pedophiles, traffickers, and drug brought in and brought to justice finally under this administration. I do want to thank the men and women of law enforcement. They've been absolute rock stars in what they've done to protect this community and to protect this city. I want to specifically name those that are under the umbrella within our components, under the Department of Homeland Security. That has been our ICE officers who have been on the front line out interdicting with many of these dangerous criminals. Also, HSI with their investigative skill set and tactical teams have been absolutely imperative to us in helping us make sure we're running operations and really targeting these bad actors. Our Federal Protective Services and also our Border Patrol agents have come and been partners with us in an incredible way. They bring a skill set that has helped us have a whole of government approach under the Department of Homeland Security that has never happened before. The assets that they have and the willingness us to do their jobs that this
I'd
president
rather her over
has
Marjorie
been
Taylor
absolutely
Greene.
incredible. But what you
No,
see standing behind
she's
me
not a
too
governor
is
anymore,
also other
Dennison.
federal
She
partners.
is
Federal partners that have come to the table that are here to bring
the head
safety
of the
and security
DHS.
to the city of Los Angeles. I want to specifically thank the Army. I want to thank the Marines, the National Guard, our soldiers, our military men and women who have shown up here to help make sure that we have security. Not only do they protect our country around the world, but they're doing it every single day here in the United States of America too, and doing it
Listen, yes, but
as service,
horrible
public
at
service
her
to the
job.
people in this country because they took an oath to uphold the law. We also have a U.S. attorney here who has been aggressive, has been making sure that we don't pick winners and losers in this country, that the rule of law will be followed, and that people who break the law and perpetuate violence will be brought to justice. They will be prosecuted, and there will be consequences for that kind of activity. The Department of Justice is here and has a presence in our Incident Command Center, as well as the DEA, the FBI,
What up,
and their
Snell?
investigative teams have been fantastic with their leadership. And we also have the IRS here that's helping us track how these violent protesters are funded, what NGOs out there, what unions, what other individuals may be funding these violent perpetuators that are in these protests that take people who may be wanting
That George Soros money, dude. That George
to come
Soros money.
and be peaceful, but instead
I had some of that money. I'll be
violent
doing
activities that
fuck
go
it.
after law enforcement. That's just simply not acceptable. And I also want to thank our U.S. Marshals. They've been so great in helping us to secure facilities, but also operations, and also with transportation. That as soon as someone is arrested and brought into incarceration, that they are transported out and able to face prosecution and consequences for their crimes.
Dennison, you are not wrong. You are not wrong.
I want people to know that while these officers and these agencies and our military are here doing this work and these operations, that the people across this country are so grateful. They are so grateful for the work that is being done here in Los Angeles. They are setting an example for what is happening across the country in other cities, and putting together a model and a blueprint for how we can continue to work to make every single community great again and safe again for our kids and for our grandkids far into the future. I've been in many different states with all the different components that I represent over the last 4 or 5 days, and everywhere I go, people stop me and say, tell everybody who's working in Los Angeles that is working to bring safety to those city streets and to those families and protect those small business. Tell them thank you.
I also need
Tell
to
them
hear
God
what
bless
Kristen
you. That I hope that they are
has to
safe.
say.
And they have been suffering. The people that live here under the policies of Governor Newsom and under the policies of Mayor Bass, and they recognize that it's a huge disservice to the people who have to try to raise their families here.
To the point
and
that
that
they
these
need to call the
agents and that
National
these
Guard
law
in.
enforcement officers are working to change that and give them an opportunity to be successful and to live the American dream. Listen, many officers have been assaulted over the last several days. We did see before that assaults
crazy,
against
Snow,
law enforcement
really?
and ICE officers go up over 400%. In this situation, we've seen that increase even more. It's not acceptable. If you assault a law enforcement officer, we are going to come after you and we are going to arrest you, prosecute you, and put you away. That is not going to work. And under this administration with President Trump's leadership, one person is not better than another. Just because you think you're here as a citizen or because you're...
Just would like to point out this is the same lady that was advocating for the people of January 6th, who I would argue were violent to get pardons. Just saying. It does seem like we have a two-tier system.
a member of a certain group or you're not a citizen, it doesn't mean that you're going to be protected and not face consequences from the laws that this country stands for. We have a constitution. We follow that constitution and the laws that have been passed by our Congress, and we're going to make sure they are equally applied to every single person as it applies under the Constitution here in Los Angeles, but also across
I can't
the
wait
country.
for everyone to get
As
their
our law
pardon.
enforcement officers have been assaulted, they've been pelted with rocks
Hey,
and bricks.
pardons are a
Their
part
cars
of
have
the
been set
freaking
on fire.
president can do
Molotov
that.
cocktails have been used.
That's different.
We have seen people throw bottles and hammers at them. We've also seen that they have been attacked and verbally spit on or punched or assaulted, and it's just not acceptable. The Department of Homeland Security and the officers and
verbally
the
assaulted.
agencies and the
Why do you give a
departments and the
fuck about
military
that?
people that are working on this operation will continue to sustain and increase our operations in this city. We are not going away.
Spitting at them?
We
Yeah,
are staying
bad.
here to
Throwing bottles
liberate
at them?
this city
Bad.
verbally
the,
assaulting them. I don't know if that's
socialist
bad.
and the burdensome
I don't know.
leadership
Maybe she just
that
tried to
this
make
governor
the
and that
biggest
this
list she
mayor
could
have
fucking
placed
think
on
of.
this country and what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person
what's happening.
that has been able to do this. Also, I want to talk
So, we're gonna
specifically.
go a little bit more back.
We are staying here to
Pay
liberate
attention, everyone. Pay attention.
the city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership that this governor and that this mayor have placed on this country and what they have tried to insert into this city. So I want to say thank you to every single person that has been able to do this. Also, I want to talk specifically to the rioters and to the politicians in Los Angeles.
Oh, we didn't.
This was a U.S. senator. This is a U.S. senator.
They probably threw him off guard. I wonder if they would have known that if he was one.
He was actually already in the room.
Oh, just hanging out?
Well, he was supposed to be part of the thing.
Okay, I changed my view of it.
Have been doxxed for doing their duty, how they have been targeted, and how their families.
All right. So we see that, right? And let's get another angle for this, because I think it's important to see what the fuck.
I just want to know what he did to make them react like that.
He started asking questions. He started talking. Look.
So supposedly he what?
Hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands off.
Oh. Why were they allowed to do that? A U.S. senator asked the question.
Look.
Hands on your back. If you don't my hands, go.
He's 50-something years old, dude. Jesus Christ.
Lay flat. Lay flat. Other hand, sir. Other hand.
You can't go after the queen bee now.
So I don't know how much clearer it has to be that we are in a weird ass time where a senator can get pulled out of a room and fucking put in handcuffs. Like, yeah, he interrupted her, but that's his job. Ultimately, he is the senator for California. The state that she's talking about is his state. And yes, he should be able to ask a question, even if she's in the middle of a fucking thing. Be like, fuck, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't matter what party line you're on. If you could just look at that, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, for sure, Dennis, and I would agree with you. There has been, but it's getting to the point that it's just blatant. Like, on both sides, it's just super blatant. And
to be fair, there's some of that we don't see.
Yeah,
there's a little bit. I just want to see a little bit more, but like some are accusing him of lunging or some shit, which I don't really think he would have fucking done. But
look, was that lunging?
we just see that part right there.
Was
like,
he lunging?
what happened to the rest of the footage?
Sir.
And we watched her talking here. Like, if there was a lunging, they would have fucking said something there.
Have been put in jeopardy. We have seen people throw bombs.
He might have been like forcefully walking
We've
towards
also
her.
seen that
That's the only thing I can think of.
Moving forward, I guess, and trying to talk to her because he's gonna ask a question, which is logically like consistent.
I don't know why you couldn't have just asked it from the like. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure like why would they even react like that? That's just crazy.
Because it is actually they have all the power. To be 100% honest, they have all the power. They can do what the fuck they want, and fair. But I think this sets super dangerous precedents moving forward. Like, I don't want the Democrats acting like this. Like, if I saw a Democrat acting like this, I would be calling this out, being like, what the fuck is this?
No, you would laugh first, but then you would be like, what the fuck is this?
No, like, honestly, if I watch, like,
Marjorie Taylor Greene like interrupting someone and then getting fucking pulled out of a room and then put in handcuffs, I'd be like, yo, I get she's fucking crazy, but come on.
Hey, didn't they handcuff
She's a
AOC?
representative. Yeah, she's a representative, so I'm just like,
No, like did they handcuff AOC?
I don't remember.
I don't even remember what that was for. Everybody was like saying, "Oh, you really weren't handcuffed or something." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But they definitely put handcuffs on this dude. Like, I don't think we can dispute that.
no, I think it's all faked. It's AI.
So this is
A black guy.
the Republican leader talking about the situation.
Federal agents go too far the way they
House
treated
Speaker.
Senator Padilla today? Was that a bridge too far?
I saw the same video, a very brief video that I think many people did. I think the senator's actions, my view is it was wildly inappropriate. You don't charge a sitting cabinet secretary, and everybody can draw their own conclusions. You can see it's a heated debate here.
I feel like he's smart because he do his lying.
Let me just, hold on, wait.
Charge.
I think the American people can draw their own conclusions. They saw a senator acting like wildly inappropriate. I'll leave it at that. So.
What about the way
Okay. What was wildly inappropriate?
He said that he charged.
What I saw was agents asking him to quieten down so that the secretary could continue her press conference. He refused to do so. What were they supposed to do?
Okay. Did you see the like shift in the lie? Right? He started talking, they told him to shut up, and that's why he got dragged off. But he started off with this as he was charging her. How can those two things be consistent?
I missed it.
You have to restrain someone so that the secretary could continue her press conference. He refused to do so.
What about the way you treated
What I saw was agents asking him to quieten down so that the secretary could continue her press conference. He refused to do so. What were they supposed to do? They have to restrain someone who is engaging in that kind of behavior. They moved him out of the room.
to the ground, handcuffed him?
A sitting member of Congress should not act like that. It is beneath a member of Congress. It is beneath a U.S. senator. They're supposed to lead by example, and that is not a good example. We have to turn the temperature down in this country and not escalate it. The Democrat Party is on the wrong side. They are defending law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to turn the temperature down. So we're going to put senators into handcuffs because that's definitely not going to piss anyone off. You know, he was being a bad example.
Lawbreakers, and now they're acting like lawbreakers themselves.
I feel like presidents should be banned from attending social media.
Secretary in a press
And
conference.
they're only allowed to do press conferences.
I think those actions
Yeah.
speak
Do
for
you have
themselves.
anything to say about lowering the temperature in the country right now? What would you
Scott,
leader of the legislative branch?
I have things to say about lowering the temperature all the time. I'm very consistent in this. We have been trying to do this since I was handed the gavel and before. I founded the Honor and Civility Caucus in the Congress, for crying out loud, when I got here in 2017. I think that we should act according to our offices. We have a duty and a responsibility to set a tone, an example in our actions, and I encourage every member of this body to do it in the House and Senate. We have to turn the temperature down. We need to be on the side of the rule of law. We need to be on the side of law and order. We need to be on the side of calm and not chaos. And when members go into these settings and act this way, that when they push law enforcement agents around, when they storm cabinet secretaries in a press conference, I think
Push law enforcement agents around.
And then storm instead of going back to his original. He just went back to the original line. He went back to his original fucking thing. He says
and I think it sets
it's because he was talking over
tone for the rest of the country.
Will there be an
Yes.
investigation? Will there be a House investigation?
This is a Senate side issue, but I certainly hope that behavior is not repeated over here. We already.
no investigation.
I
am,
This
yes.
affects all members, whether they be in the House or Senate. You're the Speaker of the House.
Yes.
The constitutional officer of this branch.
Yeah, and what of it? I mean,
The idea that you said this is a Senate issue. This isn't. I mean, these are members of Congress.
I mean, Yeah, but the Senate does its disciplinary actions over there, and we do ours over here. We have a certain set of measures, as you all know, and it ranges from censure to removal from committees to ultimately expulsion from the body.
And you support that for the senator?
It's not my decision to make. I'm not in that chamber, but I do think that it merits immediate attention by others.
You know what they've done, though, right?
What?
They've given that dude such re-election ammunition. Jesus Christ.
Who? Padilla?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Padilla definitely gonna. Oh, Padilla's living in the we'll play. I actually have the clip saved for that as well, where he got out later on in the day. Yeah, fuck Mike Johnson. I actually don't want to hear from this motherfucker anymore. So let's just listen.
Well, good afternoon, everybody.
Never put your hand on me.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. You guys have some questions. I'm going to read a brief statement. I will not be taking questions, but allow me to read my statement. I'm here in Los Angeles today, and I was here in the federal building, in the conference room, awaiting a scheduled briefing from federal officials as part of my responsibility as a senator to provide oversight and accountability. While I was waiting for the briefing with General Guillot, I learned that Secretary Noem was having a press conference a couple of doors down the hall. Since the beginning of the year, but especially over the course of recent weeks, several of my colleagues have been asking the Department of Homeland Security for more information and more answers on their increasingly extreme immigration enforcement actions. And we've gotten little to no information in response to our inquiries. And so I came to the press conference to hear what she had to say, to see if I could learn any new additional information. And at one point, I had a question. And let me emphasize, just as we've emphasized the right for people to peacefully protest and to stand up for their First Amendment rights, for our fundamental rights. I was there peacefully. At one point, I had a question. And so I began to ask a question. I was almost immediately forcibly removed from the room. I was forced to the ground. And I was handcuffed. I was not arrested. I was not detained. I will say this. If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country. We will hold this administration accountable. And we'll have more to say. We'll have more to say in the coming days. Let me say just briefly in Spanish as well. Soy el senador Alex Padilla. Y estuve aquí porque tuve una junta.
Okay, we're not going to listen to the Spanish version.
Hey!
Situation right now because there's a lack of.
Okay. So, yeah. Not a great look. Not a great look. Not a good day to be on the, we aren't living in a super police state at the moment. Any thoughts, Sean?
It's like every fucking week. It's fucking nuts. God damn it.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, though, I did not have senator being wrestled to the ground by security.
That was
Do
not.
you remember like old politics? It's like, oh, every month maybe you'd see something, whatever. This is every fucking week, almost every goddamn day.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck? Now we got to deal with Iran and fucking. Oh, goddamn. Go.
Yeah.
That's all I got right.
Yeah. And that's kind of the fundamentally the issue, right? That we're facing, that this administration seems to play fast and loose with the rules.
That they do. That they do.
Also, we do have Newsom talking about the TRO that he filed. That was
did you saw that the court's gonna
they granted it this time. They didn't grant the Monday one, but they granted this one. So when we're looking at this, it's just like, oh, okay, fucking Newsom, just get out.
Equal branches of government. Framework took the republic, and it has stood the test of time. Donald Trump has tested the limits of that and has done so consistently. But today's order makes clear that he is not above or beyond constitutional constraints. Constitution sets forth limits. The president is a constitutional officer. The president of the United States.
Now, just for clarification, just because the TRO was granted, does it mean it goes into effect because there's still the appeal process, which would probably take you through the weekend. So the National Guard is still going to be there all weekend, which is when the No Kings protest is going to take effect. Just for
States works under the Constitution. And so we are very gratified by this decision. His section that he asserted the authority to overrule the objections of a state governor. Clearly, in the 36-page order, those cornerstones that he claimed or asserted were not met. Section 12, 406, clearly there's no invasion, there's no rebellion. It's absurd. And so we're gratified. Today is a big day for the Constitution of the United States, for our democracy. And I hope it's the beginning of a new day in this country where we push back against overreach. We push back against these authoritarian tendencies.
Yes, no, not a big fan of Gavin. But honestly, Trump shouldn't be able to go over his head like that. Again, I think it was an escalatory moment of sending the National Guard in. I think LAPD more than easily could have handled the situation and de-escalated it. Instead, we have what we have on our hands now. We're like a week in at this point, and I don't see it breaking down before the weekend at least. And then there's the No Kings protest, which is going to be all over the all over the U.S.
Of a president that is,
and also one in Canada, strangely enough.
Pushed the boundaries, pushed the limit, but no longer can push this state around any longer. Happy to take any questions.
All right, so we have the TRO granted. We are in a fucked up spot where
This feels like
what?
Like this feels like the feud between Trump and the fucking Canadian Prime Minister.
Trudeau.
A little bit. It just feels like that.
Well, Gavin is.
We're not backing down.
Gavin is Canadian. He is American. Trudeau. So, but
see.
The fundamental thing with the Trump administration has been that we're in a position where they can basically get anything passed by the court quickly,
and anything on the opposing end is done slowly. So he's basically he's working with favorable odds at the moment, and I think that has emboldened this administration.
Mm-hmm.
So I the issue is like I don't know how much more the nation could handle. Like we're already at points where people are setting fires to random ass cars in the street. I don't know what more we can do, right? Like the splitting seems to be happening rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's just necessarily Trump's fault, right? I think the Democrats are also doing a disservice by not being more amicable to the MAGA crowd at this point. They just can't just shit on them. They have to fucking actually extend the hand. But also you can't let the administration boss you around, right? So like this good sign.
I feel like I don't know. I kind of going back on a statement I've made before of like, if the left says they're so smart, don't they have a responsibility to figure this shit out in the best way possible? I don't know. That kind of removes responsibility from the people on the right. I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree. Then that's kind of the issue. I think the left is being held to a ridiculous standard, while the right can just be like, we can do whatever the fuck we want, and you're gonna deal with it. All right, and that's kind of.
It's that soy milk. It's doing it. It's the soy.
I have no idea what the fuck is going on anymore.
It's the tofu and the avocado toast. It's fucked their brains up. But anyway.
What happened to the actual Republicans is my question.
To fight MAGA. They're there.
They're there, but like, are they there?
It's a skeleton. It's a skeleton crew.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
No. They're barely.
Because as soon as they're given any leverage against Trump, they start talking like they're supposed to. And then when they realize it's not going anywhere, they go back to, yeah, we're pro-Trump, MAGA, yay. I mean, it just shows you, like, the first initial response to the insurrection. Lindsay was like, I'm tired of this shit. This fucking shit right here. Blah, blah.
Yeah, Snow, absolutely correct. And that's why when I heard Trump a couple days ago be like, he was going to cut off grants or federal funding from California, I was just like, do you really want to fuck with the one, like the state that is bringing in the most money and just fuck the nation up for a while? Like, what is the goal here? Because if California decides, hey, I'm not paying taxes, then fuck, we are in a bad position. So, yeah.
Might there be an issue because they're like a very big social welfare state, though, too?
Yeah.
Like they spend a lot on I forget what. And that government funding, I'm pretty sure helps out with something.
Yeah. And the problem is Army only goes so far. Like you can try and force people to work, but it's not going to be the same. So like you're going to have like a humongous issue on your hands if you basically try to like push California too fucking far. Yeah, obviously I don't agree with some of the laws in California's books. But I just think threatening them with removing their federal funding is just retarded. Base, Lauren. We should all be eating snacks. And that's what we will be doing until this administration is fucking over and I can finally think like a normal person again. Because this is getting ridiculous. But, yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything more to say about this aspect of it?
No.
No, nothing more? No.
No. I'll make a mistake.
Based. But yeah, with this, I think we're just gonna like talk about the No Kings protest this weekend and then close out the stream. If you guys don't know what the No Kings protest is, it's gonna be here. It's a protest that's going on over the weekend. For the 14th to be particular, let me read their slogan. In America, we don't do kings. They defied our courts, deported Americans, disappeared people off the streets, attacked our civil rights, and slashed our services. The corruption has gone too far. No thrones, no crowns, no kings. So this is the map of the No Kings protests. As you can see, there's a lot of them. Let's zoom in so people can see. Yeah. So all of that, all of those dots are where protests are going to be held. Obviously, this kind of gives some credence to why people would be preparing for this. Trump did say it earlier this week, if people protest his military parade, he will be using force to remove them. So I don't know how that's going to play out. But yeah. Personally, I think that these protests are good as long as they don't result in violence. Again, the issue is we have bad actors, and bad actors are always gonna perform some action. And yeah, I would like to see better optics from the Democrats or from these protesters, just because it plays better. I think it just feeds into the hands of Republicans when you act like fools. So if they keep that in mind, then we would probably be better off. But yeah, this is the No Kings protest. It's on the 14th. There's going to be a shit ton of them. And I don't know how this is going to play out. It's going to be big. So seems like the Northwest is actually going to be pretty crazy. I don't know if that's why there's so many there. The Northeast, not Northwest.
That's where all the libs.
I don't know. These things, there's a lot of dots everywhere, dude.
Do you think all of those will really materialize though?
A couple people at each one, right?
I just can't think of like one of the areas near me. Like, where the hell they're going to even do that at?
They give you information. You can register and do all your shit. So
maybe I should register to go.
Huh?
Maybe I should register to go, even though I'm not, just to get some more info.
I mean, maybe. I mean, if you have a problem with like the administration, I would say like protesting these kinds of things is good. I'm always in favor for protesting over not protesting. Again, it's just the riots that I have an issue with. And again, if I had to put a percentage on that, that'd probably be like 5% of it, and that's not necessarily a humongous issue for me. At that point, like, yeah, it's an issue for the police department, and it creates a lot of vandalism, a lot of destruction of property, but it's not the whole of people. So I don't know. I just never attribute that to the whole group. But any other thoughts, guys? Otherwise, I think we're gonna close out for the night.
I didn't think about it. Ooh, the Northeast, Jesus.
Yeah, if you guys want the link to this, I'll put it in the chat for you guys. No Kings protesting this weekend, if you want to do that. Any closing thoughts, one?
I don't know, man. I'm just crossing my fingers and hope shit don't get too fucky. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Sorry.
This is what shitty rhetoric gets you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Any closing thoughts?
Anybody that came in today, I hope you enjoyed the stream.
Best.
Make sure you like it and subscribe.
Best. And yeah, thank you guys for coming. If you didn't hit that like button, because I didn't say it this whole time, I forgot to do it. Bad streamer. Hit that like button. If you weren't subscribed, subscribe. You know the deal. But thank you for showing up. Always like covering this kind of stuff. We're probably gonna get more coverage of this because of this weekend's protest. So I'm probably gonna push that on. Either I'll do it on Sunday or I'll do a Tuesday stream. Not 100% sure. And we have a debate coming up next Friday. It's going to be between Avius and Melanie Cosmic Fox. So if you want to see some people fucking yelling at each other, then tune in. Because that should be pretty awesome. Yes, I will be moderating. And we do have 2 guest judges coming in as well. So that should be fun. But that is next Friday. And besides that, all I got to show you is this final clip, which I'm going to use to close off the stream. And just pay attention to this final clip because I think it demonstrates something really important.
Orange juice.
Yes, my name is David Grossberg, and I'd like to know, do you think the children of Elysian...
Who you'd say he was. Look, I'd like to see something done about the illegal alien problem that would be so sensitive and so understanding about labor needs and human needs that problem wouldn't come up. But today, if those people are here, I would reluctantly say I think they would get whatever it is that they're, what the society is giving to their neighbors. But the problem has to be solved. The problem has to be solved. Because as we have kind of made illegal some kinds of labor that I'd like to see legal, we're doing 2 things. We're creating a whole society of really honorable, decent, family-loving people that are in violation of the law, and secondly, we're exacerbating relations with Mexico. The answer to your question is much more fundamental than whether they attend Houston schools, it seems to me. I don't want to see if they're living here, I don't want to see a whole thinking 6- and 8-year-old kids being made, one totally uneducated and made to feel that they're living with outside the law. Let's address ourselves to the fundamentals. These are good people, strong people. Part of my family is a Mexican. Can I add to that? I think the time has come that the United States and our neighbors, particularly our neighbor to the south, should have a better understanding and a better relationship than we've ever had. And I think that we haven't been sensitive enough to our size and our power. They have a problem of 40 to 50% unemployment. Now, this cannot continue without the possibility arising with regard to that other country that we talked about, of Cuba and what it is stirring up, of the possibility of trouble below the border, and we could have a very hostile and strange neighbor on our border. Rather than making them or talking about putting up a fence, why don't we work out some recognition of our mutual problems, make it possible for them to come here legally with a work permit, and then while they're working and earning here, they pay taxes here. And when they want to go back, they can go back, and they can cross and open the border both ways by understanding their problems. This is the only safety valve right now they have with that unemployment that probably keeps the lid from blowing off down there. And I think we could have a fine relationship, and it would solve the problem you mentioned also.
All right. Don't be like Republicans who want open borders. Be like Democrats who want regulated borders. All right. I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you for coming.